For the members of the press and all the delegates, so I invite all of you to join us. We will also have the official photo session.
Go through my note. First of all, I would like to, on behalf of National Foundation for India and personally, amazingly, it's happening now. So thank you, and then for believing in this collaboration. Thank you, the Development Commissioner, Shri Ramakrishnan, and the Planning and Transformation Department for believing in this to inspire every one of us. I would like to really thank you. I would like to thank from the bottom of my heart to my organizing team, Aulula, Limabenla, Veku, Kati, Joshua, and I'd like to thank the European Union for co-funding this project. Last but not the least, I would like to
congratulate all the young leaders who are gathered here, because you have been selected through a rigorous screening process and you represent the future of Nagaland. I understand there is an eclectic mix of young minds here from diverse backgrounds and communities, and that is the very essence of SDGs. It is about integration, it is about coming together of minds and new ideas. As we all know that while the SDGs are global, their achievement will depend on the fact how we are able to translate them to reality in our communities, in your communities. To accelerate the implementation of SDG, the state has established a dedicated center, the SDG Coordination Center, under the Planning and Transformation Department in October 2019 with technical support from the United Nations Development Programme. This center is established with a mandate to act as a center for SDG knowledge dissemination, monitoring, policy strengthening, and as an accelerator for SDG implementation across the state. Since then, the state has been actively pursuing and has taken various initiatives for the implementation, streamlining, and strengthening of SDGs. So SDGCC has been working closely with all the implementing line departments, district administration, and communities within the state, focusing on capacity building and aligning the SDGs to the priorities of the state. So two of my team members from SDGCC are here, and they would, in the upcoming technical session, after this plenary session, would share some of the salient aspects of SDGs with Nagaland, where you will be able to deep dive into some of the things that which I am going to speak about right now. However, I would like to touch upon some key aspects of SDG implementation in the state as an overview or as an introduction of sorts. So as an institutional mechanism, we have a high-level steering committee headed by the Chief Secretary of Nagaland for guidance, monitoring, policy review, and course corrections on SDG implementation. And as a means of mainstreaming SDGs into the policy framework of the state, there are also departmental SDG cells in all relevant departments with SDG nodal officers for more effective coordination and implementation. And at the district level, there are district SDG cells that are constituted under the district administrators, it is deputy commissioners, for the effective implementation of SDGs in their respective districts. So as a part of our awareness and capacity building, we have carried out state and district level capacity building workshops and consultations for the implementation of SDGs, developing the SDG vision document, and developing indicator frameworks for the state of Nagaland. Going forward, we also plan to carry out capacity building training in collaboration with the Rural Development Department for village level functionaries as well. And as a part of mass media outreach, we have held various radio talk show series by AIR Kohima and Hills FM Nagaland recently. So we also try to disseminate SDGs to the Green Christmas campaigns, online quiz series, traditional painting competition, and through our social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I also take this opportunity to urge each one of you young leaders to please follow our social media handles for news and updates on our activities. The SDG One-Stop Destination Center at the Hornbill Festival in 2021 and 2022 for SDG dissemination through innovative activities was one of the most popular destinations for the domestic and foreign tourists who have been frequenting the Hornbill Festival. The SDGCC Nagaland website is being developed, which will host all information relating to SDGCC's activities, events, news, dashboard, videos, publications, and other relevant resources. So as you've just seen the video, the state has formulated an SDG Vision 2030. I don't know how many of you have gone through that. This was in consultation with concerned state departments. And this is a strategic development roadmap developed by the government of Nagaland to work coherently towards the achievement of the 2030 agenda. We have also developed the district manual for SDG localization and integration, for giving guidance to district departments as to how they can localize the SDGs depending on the local context of the respective geographies. All flagship schemes, state schemes and programs have been mapped to the SDG goals and targets as a ready reference for the departments to knowing their current SDG status. We have also developed the state and district indicator frameworks that are aligned to national indicator frameworks. About two initiatives I would just like to inform you. This is the Nagaland SDG Action Awards and the SDG Innovation Participatory Action Research Initiative, which is the IPAR. And this has been conceived to encourage, promote, and support the efforts of all individuals, organizations, and institutions who are thinking out of the box and coming up with sustainable innovations at the grassroots level. So this is primarily for individuals and non-governmental organizations working on SDGs. So we have just shortlisted the winners for the SDG Action Awards 1.0 and SDG IPAR 2.0, and we will be declaring this soon. We have also recently had a very successful collaboration with an organization, the AIC Selco Foundation based in Guwahati, to identify rural local innovators from Nagaland who have the potential to scale up their innovative ideas and transform them into successful business opportunities. We are happy to have played a role in bringing together the diverse stakeholders in the sphere of innovation and entrepreneurship in this important initiative. So Nagaland is a state that has won international accolades for its communitization and rich social capital. The community conservation efforts for protecting and preserving the natural resources of Nagaland have gained much traction. And I'm sure you will go deeper into it with our excellent speakers who will be speaking on the SDG 13. There's another technical session that's going to come up. But the point I want to make is that amidst a rapidly globalizing world, emerging technologies, and deteriorating natural resources, there is a need to reinvent our thinking on sustainable development and inculcate sustainable consciousness at all levels of society. We need fresh energy and thinking for this, in sync with the modern times. And this is where you young leaders can contribute to the SDG agenda. How do you align the traditional sustainable conservation practices of Nagaland with modern thinking on SDGs? And this is where I feel the blended thinking is going to come in. And even the conference can contribute to that. The SDGCC is always open for ideas, for technical assistance with SDG implementation. So please drop in a mail at sdgnagaland@gmail.com or reach out to SDGCC Nagaland handles on social media platforms. I urge all young leaders to deliberate, to introspect, to think about how you can contribute to promoting and implementing the SDGs in Nagaland and have a fruitful interaction in this event. Thank you so much.
As we all know, 2015, United Nations member states adopted the Sustainable Development Goals as a universal call to action. The SDGs consist of 17 global goals and 169 associated targets that serve as a blueprint for better and more sustainable future. Our state Nagaland is making consistent progress in the SDG index, and the index published by NITI Aayog and UNDP, which focuses on state level performance. The composite SDG score for Nagaland has improved from 57 in 2019 to 61 in 2020-21, and Nagaland is ranked 19 out of 35 states and UTs in the country. I'm happy to mention that Nagaland is a front runner and has performed well in the SDGs, especially like poverty, clean water and sanitation, clean and affordable energy, responsible consumption and production, climate action, peace, justice and institutions. And as per the Northeastern Region District SDG Index 21-22 published by the Ministry of Development, NITI Aayog and UNDP, the districts of Nagaland like Pek, Kohima, Dimapur, Mochang, Wokha, Mon and Paran, they score well in certain goals. For example, goal number 2, zero hunger, quality education, clean water and sanitation, gender equality. And I am also very happy to mention that Pek district ranked first across all the 103 northeastern districts in goal 2, zero hunger. However, dear friends, there is a scope for improving the performance of some of the indicators at the district as well as the state levels. Nagaland has been actively working with the different organizations through SDGC under the planning department. We also receive support from NITI Aayog and the UNDP as well as the implementing land departments in the state. Nagaland has taken various initiatives to localize SDGs as Nayantara was explaining in detail, and ensure that the targets and aspirations of the people are achieved. It is also, I'm happy to share that in October 2022, Nagaland was one among the 4 states we are selected to present the SDG framework best practices in the national workshop organized by the Ministry of Statistics and the Program Implementation Delhi. And our state, we formed a vision, Nagaland Vision 2030, with the main theme, leaving no one behind. And it was announced by Honorable Chief Minister in 2021. It is a strategic development to a roadmap to work coherently towards the holistic pathway for inclusive development of Nagaland. This document was conceived in consultation with all the departments. It provides the sector-wise strategies to achieve the SDG targets. We are also encouraging the department to sincerely implement various ongoing development programs and schemes which are closely associated with the SDGs goals and indicators. Our government is very committed to promote inclusive, peaceful and sustainable development for a prosperous and a sustainable tomorrow. And I hope this training program, 2 days training program for the young leaders and SDGs will be fruitful. And
we keep on saying, especially public leaders like us, youths are the leaders, youths are our future, but we do not give opportunity to the youth at all, you see. So ultimately, one day when you get opportunity, you will be maybe too old to be called a youth. So I'm very happy to be in the midst of all of you. The opportunity you will get today will define what you are. Of course, I'll come back to that, but I would like to also acknowledge my presence here because of the SDG Nagaland chapter. We just heard from what do we call Benla Jamir. She's equally a young professional leader. She had a very inspirational, and she still continues to be, in terms of her global presence as well as her local presence. So I have gone through the list of resource persons. You are fortunate in a way, you should be able to interact with them. I also welcome our friends from outside, especially NFI. We heard the offline from the executive director, Biraj Patnaik, but I also welcome their team for collaborating with us. And also, I'm thankful for hearing, and all of you are equally thankful from hearing from none other than Madam Nayantara Sasikumar. Very inspiring speech she gave. She gave the background on SDG, so I will not be going into all those things. And of course, from none other than our Principal Secretary, Rama Krishnan, our IS, is the Principal Secretary. We heard about him. So thank you, both of you, for your presence and for being part of this. I know that you have divided your thematics into different sessions, so you should make good use of these opportunities. I just want to tell you one short story, history. On 14 October 1879, it was drizzling a little bit like this morning, October, the last of the monsoon shower is fading away. G.H. Daman, the equivalent of the Deputy Commissioner of Kohima Hills, was standing in front of Konoma Gate, and suddenly a fire was fired, and he was immediately shot dead. the British Empire, which was covering like almost all parts of the world, nobody challenges the authority of the British Empire. And these poor Nagas, so foolish. They just thought that the authority who represents the empire. They did not understand the consequences of who is this deputy commissioner. For them, he is just another white fellow. So the British took this very seriously because shooting the representative of the empire is like challenging the empire. So they decided to punish the Nagas for once and for all. When the British Empire, at the time of G.H. Daman's death, when he was killed, 38 British officers plus 4,797 soldiers, mostly Indian soldiers, which was headed by 38 British officers, were controlling the entire what is called the present-day West Bengal, Bihar, Bangladesh, and the entire northeast. So when they decided to wage war in Kohima, by the time the Kohima war ended, the presence of British army was like 1,437, which is nearly like 1/3 of the entire British force in the so-called eastern frontier was engaged to fight this battle. The battle in Kohima lasted only for one night. Midnight, it was a fierce battle. One Victoria Cross was also awarded, but midnight, the soldiers, the brave warriors, they all ran away up to what is called Chaka Fort below Jaffa. The war did not end there. It continued for another 4 months. And what is that called? Guerrilla warfare. The British learned their first guerrilla war experience from the Nagas. So the guerrilla warfare continued on for 4 months. Then the Britishers, who had all the experiences of subjugating people across the world, they were not able to catch these Nagas. Hit and run was introduced, and so the British were very alarmed. For the first time in British Empire, bodyguards were given to duck runners. Duck runners means people who deliver messages and letters. So across the world, duck runners were given bodyguards because of the first experience with hit and run in Nagaland, in the Kohima experience. What I wanted to tell you is that the Britishers were just waiting. They could not trace out where are these hit and run Naga warriors. In Naga society, you are a warrior. We come from a culture which is violent but also honorable. Hunting culture was there. Two villages, even from the same villages, we were fighting against each other. But what is important here is that warriorship, or the celebration of masculinity and what we call violence, was very much there as our culture. And even for a warrior, what is very important for a warrior is not a warrior first. A warrior first had to till the land. He has to feed himself. He has to feed his family. So the British knew that these warriors, ultimately when springtime comes, they have to come down. The first Naga fear for a warrior is not, they did not fear the Britishers, but what they fear was food security. The British knew this, so they had to ultimately come down to sow what we call for their fields. So the British cleverly waited for that, and ultimately the siege against the British was lifted. On 27 March 1880, finally they came down to surrender. I just wanted to say that food security is also very much part of our destiny. Food security in 1880 is still what we call a real fear, even today, for our situation. There is a road blockade in Dimapur or Karbi Anglong, or there is what we call a bridge has been broken down, or maybe between Kohima and Dimapur. Suddenly the road has been cut off because of landslide. Suddenly you will see that people are hoarding for food. So what I want to tell you is, 100 years later, our food security, the fear for food security is still a real threat. So today I leave it to the challenges of our young leaders. You must understand that you are young leaders. You must be responsible. You are the right holders for our, what do we call, coming out with this thing. Couple of years back, we saw the Great Wars, First World War, Second World War. Wars. How many soldiers you have, how many heads you can kill, how many people you can kill, that is what is important for the establishment of the state or for building state competencies. Today, if you look at what we call politics, politics have not only slightly but majorly shifted. We recently saw the COVID experiences in what is called biopolitics, or political power from biology. Biology and power. We see that biopower or biopolitics is redesigning our biological lives. It is reordering our social and geographical spaces through new legacies of subjugation of the body and the control of populations. Today we have, as in ancient Roman times, when Jesus was born, the parents were on their way for what? Census. Census, natality, mortality, birth control, to just give some examples. It takes what Michel Foucault says, control of life and the biological processes of man as species, and ensuring that they are not only disciplined but also regularized. So I said the great world wars, we said that people kill each other. How much you can kill, it shows how much the state is competent. Today what we see that is biological life, or the care of the self, or the state caring for you, for the individual, for its citizens and netizens. That has become the center of all political and power strategies. Clearly, our sense of security and safety is not based on how much we can destroy, but on how much we can care. So the care of the world has taken a new order. And why are all this happening? I want to quote one famous economist, Danny Rodrik. He proposes, and I must say that leaders are all politicians. I always encourage that everybody should join politics, should be part of politics. You say you need not be with a particular party or necessarily join politics like me, but you are driven with a certain politics, and that politics is leadership. Donny Rodrik says that ideas shapes interest. Ideas shape interest through three ways. First, ideas determine how political elite define themselves and the objectives they pursue, and how they choose to act. It could be because of money, it could be because of honor, status, or longevity, wanting to be in power for a long time, or simply to have a place in history. Secondly, politicians, or what we call ideas determine how political actors view about and how the world works. And lastly, ideas determine the strategies and the political actors. Ideas determine the strategies that political actors believe that they can pursue or follow. So what I'm saying is, today as young leaders, what is important for you today is ideas. There are generational gaps, we understand, in terms of knowledge systems, to build the competency of society, to build the competency of what we call the state. Today we have problems not only with development, the idea of sustainable is also questionable. How can you call whale fishing or killing whales as sustainable fishing? For example, today the world is talking about climate change. It's a dreary world. We are fearing so much. But how can we talk to local villagers like, these are the carbon footprints, this is how you should do what we call, you have to talk in their language. So today, the appropriateness of our team is about not only sustainability at the local level, but also bringing ideas which will work with local issues, which will work with local challenges. And I think today, globally, we are faced with lots of challenges, but what is important today is, today we must bring ideas. We must bring what we call workable ideas which will address local problems or local issues. Rather than talking about what we call carbon footprints or the emission of carbon, or bringing down the temperature from what we call 2 degrees Celsius to 1.8 degrees Celsius as in the UN climate change forums or so on and so forth. I think it is better that we just step out of our house and clean the nala which is getting blocked because of what we call. So today, the appropriateness of acting locally, the right holders are us. And for that, we need ideas. Today, we know that there is a digital revolution. We are accessible to more knowledge systems than any other times. How we pick and choose, it is difficult for us to, it is difficult for people like us to tell you what to do because you are better informed. It is difficult for us to actually teach you because I've been a teacher. It needs responsibility, it needs information. Today, a teacher is teaching you, but you are more updated than the teacher. So today, what I want to challenge you and what I want you to is, you go along with your course for the thematic courses. What is important is, today we need what we call ideas. Today, we also know that artificial intelligence is guiding a lot of our ideas. What is important is we need to integrate how our future will be based on these ideas and act locally. So with this as the guest of what we call honor, I thank the organizers and also I welcome all of you. Be responsible and enjoy your stay here. Thank you.
Okay, let's try making an inverted pyramid sort of a thing.